Hey everyone, welcome back. Sorry for the no lights situation. I gotta save some money. I got my butt spanked today with the miners. I'm sure you guys did too. All right, enough jokes aside. Let's get this back up and running here. Let's see here. Lights, camera, action. Let's go. Let's see, those are on. Oh, which one am I missing here? I'm missing this one over here. All right, so today was not a great day. We got our butt spanked hard today. Especially if you were like invested in the HPCI miners, right? A lot of those guys were down 30% plus. I mean, some of them were down 35% plus during the day. It was not a pleasant feeling to see what was happening here. We talked about it a little bit yesterday as far as DeepSeek, right? What that could possibly mean for the miners. And I didn't think it was going to be this bad, to be honest with you guys. I thought we were going to be down maybe 5-10%, not 35% on the miners. This was just crazy. This was a way overreaction to this whole thing. Is there some concern? Yes, there's some concern there, but I think it's unfounded concern there with DeepSeek. We'll get into a little bit here. We'll take a look at what's going on with the miners as well. We got some other things we have to talk about as well. We'll look at the change in the miners as well on enterprise value per exahash from just Friday numbers and going into today's numbers, how that has changed out as well. But we'll talk about everything that happened here. We'll look at the charts. Like I said, it wasn't a great day. Okay, so let's get into it here. We'll go through it all, but as always, not financial advice. Do your own research for entertainment only. And if you full disclosure below that, if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. Bitcoin is actually not doing too bad right now. Bitcoin had a wild day today also, right? Bitcoin went down all the way to a low of approximately 97,715. It bounced off of that and came back up above 100,000. We did close at 102,000, which wasn't too far off from where we started. The high was today at 103,000, so we're not too far off from that. So Bitcoin kind of fixed itself more or less. Bitcoin, I mean, even at that point, Bitcoin wasn't doing as nearly as bad as the miners were. I mean, the miners we'll talk about here in a second, but those things were beaten down to a pulp today. And maybe rightfully so, maybe not, right? We'll talk about it. But right now, Bitcoin's up a little bit here. On the new day, it's up to 102,416. We're up just 0.36% on the day. So at least Bitcoin is holding steady. It's above 100,000. So I love seeing that. All right, let's get into the miners here. MicroStrategy was even down today. MicroStrategy had two news events that came out today. We'll talk about those here in a second for them. But that one was down also today, 1.63%. So it wasn't down as much as the miners were, especially the HPCI miners. Okay. That was a big thing that I saw today was those guys really got hammered hard. And let's take a look at it here. So Bitfarms was down 14.1%. I mean, ever since the start of the day, it was going down. Even pre-hours, it was going down. BitDeer was down 24.78%. That one definitely got its butt spanked. Cypher down 23.56%. It was down much lower at one point, down to $4.10. Cleanspark was finishing out at $10.31. It was down 10.62% on the day. Down $1.22. CORZ was down 29.41. It was down even lower than that. It was down to $10.50 at one point. So it did bounce up a little bit here. But yeah, not a great day for that one. Hive was down just a little, 10% as well. It finished out at 278. HUT was down 24%. It was lower at one point also. It got down to a low of here recently of $18.65 on that one. IREN was down quite a bit as well, 24.25%. It was lower at one point as well, down to 9.68. I did buy IREN today on the dip. I also bought Cleanspark on the dip as well today. I saw it as a buying opportunity here. Marathon was down the best. It was only down 8.53%. That one has fared the best here out of all of them right now. Riot was down 15.4, also down much more than that. At one point it was down, let's see here, down to $11.07. Wolf was down a lot as well, 29.85%. It was down to 413 as well. So what do we see here? We saw that the miners that are getting into HPCI or talking about it or have some kind of deals there as well, those guys blew up basically today because of DeepSeek as it is. But yeah, we had BitDeer, right, that was down a lot. Cypher, CORZ, HUT 8, IREN, and Wolf as well. And then some of the ones that did a little bit better, but not that much better. Well, they did better. Bitfarms, Riot, IREN. Well, IREN was down quite a bit. Mara and Cleanspark, right? More or less the pure play miners. Riot recently has announced that they're stopping their expansion plans for Bitcoin mining and going more into HPC AI, or at least they're trying to get that. So that one was kind of in the middle there as well, was Bitfarms. But the two best performers were Mara and Cleanspark today, both pure play miners. They didn't get as affected as much as some of the other ones. So were the HPCI play miners, were those, what's the word I'm looking for here? Was it warranted that they got beaten down so much? Maybe, maybe not, right? I'm saying maybe because they have been overextended and I would say just overextended and maybe overvalued a little bit as well based on their HPCI potential. So maybe this was a little correction that we needed to see here, with the exception of maybe I think CORZ, because CORZ, we know that they have a contract in place for the next 12, 13 years, whatever it might be, from CoreWeave. That we know is already in place. The other miners are still in talks, except for maybe Wolf. Wolf has a deal there as well. But the other miners are in talks about, they're working with somebody or they have an interest from a hyperscaler or somebody else that, they're trying to get the sites there. So those guys, I think, also didn't really deserve to be that beaten down because they really don't have it, but maybe because they are talking about it, maybe that's why they went down in value so much today, especially because they've been kind of, what's the word I'm looking at? Not spruced up, but basically their pricing was engulfed based on the HPCI potential there, okay? So maybe that's why we're having this correction here now. And the reason I think the correction is happening is because of, DeepSeek and the ramifications there that are potentially going to impact these miners. One, the implication is that if DeepSeek was able to generate a really good model, AI model, at much lower cost and with older equipment, how does that bode for some of the hyperscalers and everybody else is getting to the HPCI or AI actually race, where they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars even to build out and create these kind of models, right? So the concern there, at least that I understand it, is maybe we don't need as many megawatts, maybe we don't need as many data centers, and that's why these guys dropped like crazy today. I don't know what's going to be for us tomorrow. I know that some of these guys were going up into the green here in the after hours, so that was kind of good to see, but I don't know what's going to happen here going forward. The flip side to this is, okay, even if we do have, DeepSeek providing us basically the light going forward as far as you don't need as many HPCs or GPUs. Maybe you can use some of the older ones, and you maybe don't need to. You can do it maybe quicker as well. So the good side of that would be, okay, we can do that, but then my thought process is, okay, we can do this with less and do more. Maybe we can do even more than that and have, instead of maybe 50 models or something like that, where we can have possibly then 10,000 models for different things and whatever it might be, whether it's medical, medicine, law, engineering, other things as well, where this really does flourish and it actually does still drive the demand for HPC AI going forward. Instead of having, 10 or 50 to 100 models like this, you might end up with 10,000 models, right? So I haven't really processed it all through in my head right now. I'm trying to figure it all out and, banging my head on the wall sometimes, trying to figure out where does this actually lead us going forward. And I think it could lead us forward going into still having the demand that we need. Maybe the demand is going to be a little bit lower than what we thought, but I think the demand is still going to be there nonetheless. So I'd see this as an opportunity to buy. If you did buy today, congrats to you. It wasn't easy. I know it wasn't easy for myself as well. Definitely had to pick my brain a little bit and see what's the real catalyst here. The catalyst for me has always been Bitcoin price going up in value. I don't believe anything has changed around that right now. Still seeing a lot of adoption, everything else that's going on, so I'm not too concerned about that. So then it was just mainly which miners do I still want to be in, and it was basically the miners that I was already in. Is just dollar cost averaging down a little bit more into them, buying more on the dip because it was just a buying opportunity that I saw at least. Okay, what else do we have here? I think that's it on this side of things here of it. Some of the smaller miners were down a little bit as well. They didn't get beaten down so much. You can see here Argo was only down 6.92%. They put out a press release today that they had some machines moved over to get hosted, so that was kind of good news for them. Digital was down 15%, NE was down 10%, DMG 10%, Mawson was down only 2.2%, Stronghold was down 14% because of Bitfarms basically, and then the ETFs got really hammered today, so that definitely hurt. I have a lot of WGMI and a little bit of BitQ as well. that definitely hurt today on my retirement plan. And then what else do we have here? We got Trump coin kind of pumping a little bit here today as well, I think. Yeah, Trump is up 5.62%. Kang was down 8.2%. Applied was down 27%, right? They're also getting to HPCI side of things. Tesla was down just a little bit. Galaxy was down 15.8% because they've signaled that they're going towards HPCI more so as well. So those definitely got hit today on that one. Okay. Other good news was the difficulty decreased here on Bitcoin. I think it was either today or yesterday that it decreased a little bit. So that was at least good news, meaning the miners that are still mining Bitcoin, they are going to be generating a little bit more, at least. What was it, like 2% or something like that on that one. Okay. Next, some of the stories that we do have here. That's not what I wanted to show you guys. Not that. Bitcoin returns here for the month so far here. Still pretty good. 7% right now. Updated this. 8.49% as of right now. So that's still looking pretty good. We covered DeepSeek pretty much and what impacts this has had. It was a huge impact. Like I said, I think it's just an overreaction there. Next thing here, this is kind of interesting. Just saw this come up a little while ago. President Trump, it's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Let's see if he does away with the IRS. I'm kind of indifferent on that one. If he does, great. If he doesn't, oh well. Doesn't make any difference. But then it could make, well, depending on what if he gets rid of the total IRS, I guess at that point it would mean that companies pay no taxes and everything else. That would be kind of interesting. And then this one here. MicroStrategy and Sailor provided today that they announced the launch of STRK, a new convertible preferred stock offering available to institutional investors and select retail investors. To view the investor presentation video, learn more about the participating and access to key details, click here. So they're doing something different. I'm guessing it's just to buy more Bitcoin. I haven't really looked too deep into this yet. So I don't know what if you guys did, let me know down in the comments. Well, we can talk about it in the Q&A side of things. And then MicroStrategy also has acquired another 10,107 BTC here for $1.1 billion at an average cost of $105,586 per Bitcoin. It has achieved a BTC yield of 2.9% year to date 2025 as of 126. And they hodl 471,107 BTC acquired for $30.4 billion at 64,511 per Bitcoin as it is. I mean, this guy's just relentless. He's just going to keep buying whatever the price is going, wherever it's going. He doesn't care. It's just going up for him. He's just buying more, which is, in a way, great news. It'd be better if he was actually buying it like on the spot market instead of maybe on the OTC. But nonetheless, he is buying, which is good because then it takes Bitcoin out that was in circulation more or less. He's going to hodl it. Another interesting tidbit here was this came in as well just a couple hours ago. Russia's largest energy supplier, Rossetti, to launch Bitcoin mining operations in areas with excess electricity, aiming to optimize energy use, increase tax revenue, and support the development of BTC mining in Russia. So the Russian economy is not doing well. This might be a saving grace for them if they do this. At least for this company here, I'm hearing news stories that a lot of companies might be going bankrupt in Russia because of high interest rates, everything else that's going on in that country there. So I wonder if it's just this company doing it on their own, or if there's actually something from the up top from Putin and everything else having them go in this direction. I don't know. But this is definitely interesting here that they are going to be doing that. I don't think we'll ever see something like this in the United States where we have companies that produce electricity also mining Bitcoin for themselves. I think there's some laws and things like that that prohibit them from doing that, because it would be an unfair advantage for them to do it, especially with the miners that are out there right now. Okay, so that's it on the news side of things that I was able to see today. And then take a look at this. Here's the enterprise value per exahash, right, which is enterprise value, which is market cap plus debt minus cash minus hodl. I take out all that stuff out of there. And we can see here that today, things have definitely come down from where they were just yesterday. Let me see if I can pull this one in here. This is the one from Friday, actually. And we'll compare the two a little bit to see how that stacks up. Let's see if we can do that right there. Hopefully you guys can see all that. And let's do that. Yep. Okay. So check this out. Future hash rate as of today, based on where the stocks actually ended up today. Hive is now at 11 million. Last week, Friday, it was just 15 million. So a 4 million decrease. Bitfarms was 31 million, now it's 26 million, so that's also a 5 million decrease. IREN was 47 million, now it's 36 million, so that's 11 million decrease. And just how much basically market cap got erased today. Cleanspark was 54 million, it's only 48 now, so that's approximately 6 million decrease. Riot 81 million, now it's down to 63 million, that's 18 million. Marathon 80 million here, down to 70 million today, that's 10 million. Cypher 147 million, it's down to 112 million right now, so that's roughly, what is that, 35, right? 35 million decrease. HUT 8, 191, down to 128. You're looking more at, what is that going to be? 70, roughly 63 million difference. Yeah, 63 million. Then you got Core 218 million on Friday. It is now down to 154 million. That's a huge decrease there of approximately 60 plus million. BitDeer 268 million, down to 202. That's 66 million decrease. And then TeraWolf last week was 329 million. It got hit hard, 231 million right now. It's basically 100 million wiped off from that market cap on just in one day, basically, for them. That was a huge, huge drop for them, for a lot of these guys here, especially the ones that are playing HPC AI. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how things shake out over the next couple of days. I don't know exactly where things are going to go. The miners, like I said, did go up here a little bit in the after hours, which was good to see. Bitcoin also bounced. I'm expecting maybe we get a little bounce tomorrow, but you just never know how things are going to play out. And have cooler heads been able to prevail here a little bit with what's going on with DeepSeek and everything else. I did do a little bit more research onto it today. Saw a couple videos of people actually using DeepSeek on their own servers, right? And the results were actually pretty astonishing there as far as being able to answer some of the questions that were coming up, coding things as well. So I can see why the concern is there. And we need the United States to step up. Who was it also? Peter Thiel, I think, provided a quote today on X stating this is the Sputnik moment for the United States against China, basically. If you remember Sputnik was from Russia. Russia was the first country to basically put a satellite in space. What happened after that? The United States went into full-bore, I don't know what you would call it, revenge mode, I guess you could say, and they plowed money into it like crazy to get us to the moon and everything else, to be the first there, and so forth, so on. So they're equating it to the Sputnik moment here with China, with AI right now. So I think the gloves are going to be off. We'll see where we end up at. I think a lot of the companies that are in AI will have to look in the mirror a little bit, see what they have done wrong, what they can improve on, and you got to get as efficient as possible to play in this space, because if it's costing DeepSeek $5 to $6 million to come up with these models, and the United States is spending tens of hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever it might be, to do it, there's a disconnect there. So need to fix that for sure. But we'll see how this all plays out going forward. I think some of the pure play miners are in maybe a better position here than the ones that are in HPCI right now, but that might change here if things work themselves out, basically. All right, let's get into Q&A here, see what you guys have to say on it all. And as always, questions, if you could preface the questions with a Q, I'd appreciate it. And we'll work our way down from the questions as well. And I may have to, hold on, bear with me. I'm going to turn off my water heater and my heater as well. Bear with me. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I forgot to turn those off. I was on Quantum Expedition Space on X, and prior to that, I was on also Wolf Space as well. So busy night tonight. All right, let's see what we got as far as questions. I'm going to scroll up. I'm sure there's a bunch of questions here, comments, and things like that. So give me a second while I scroll up and see if I can find some questions here, and we'll work our way down. Let's see. Anonymous says the decline in the miners made 0 sense as the non-HPC miners were already down 50. Gotta agree. On days like these, you hold your nose and buy. Yeah. What else do I have here? All right. Question, Seb. How does DeepSeek news affect COR's current contract with CoreWeave in any way? It doesn't, right? That's why it didn't make any sense on it. It's already locked in. It's 12 years. We know what the revenue is going to be, right? Several $billion. going forward, it just doesn't make any sense. The only concern there would be if, for some reason, it affects CoreWeave, right? And CoreWeave starts to doubt how much they need as far as megawatts. That would be the only concern there, I would think. Okay. Let's see. True says 2-year chart on WGMI looks like the perfect time to buy if 2-year pattern holds. Okay, that would be good. Let's see. Your China will be exposed. Deepfake as BS. Okay. Pitch Sharma bought 5,000 of Cleanspark. Let's go. Nice. You did a lot better than me. Okay. God's Will has a question here. Hey, Seb, do you mind doing some research on Pi Network and its native token Pi? I really love to know what you think about the project. Thanks. Let me write that down, take a look at it. I don't usually look into tokens, but I will take a request from you guys. Let me see here. You're saying it's a Pi token, Pi Network, Pi token. Okay. Let's see what kind of utility they have. If they don't have any utility, I'm not even going to talk about it going forward. But if they have some utility at least, maybe there might be something interesting there. I'll take a look at it. So I'll put down my notes. Let's see here. Question, did you see DeepSeek give wrong answers? I've seen that also. Also, if you ask questions about the Chinese government there or anything like that, it kind of avoids those as well. Yeah, it's not perfect, right? None of these things are perfect as well. All of these guys, whether it's OpenAI or anybody else, they will give you sometimes the wrong answers. That's why you still have to do your due diligence even on those things as well. But I did run, no, I didn't run it. The guy that I saw running it, asked it a couple of coding questions, some math questions, some, that wasn't really philosophical questions. It was more of a question about, I can't remember what the question was now, but it was actually gave pretty good answers, and you could see the way it was answering the questions. But on the coding part of things, he did a snake game and Tetris game for it to code, and it gave through the process of how I was thinking of how it would actually code that, which was I found to be quite interesting. But it actually gave out the code in Python, which he asked for, and then he ran it on his own machine, and it worked. So there's good news there. Some math questions that were also right, but definitely anything that had to do with the Chinese government, those things were all off. Let's see. CR80 says, today was a gift if you have dry powder. If not, then just hold and come back next week. Possibly, yeah. 97 says, big overreaction. I would agree. Okay. Let's see. Question, how do you see Cleanspark moving forward as they have new slow? Also, do you see CORZ moving forward? I think, well, Cleanspark is still growing, right? They're going to be growing to like 50-some exahash here, possibly more than that by the end of the year. Their HODL position is increasing as well. I still believe that once they start reporting the quarterly results for some of these guys that have a nice HODL position and ran up nicely in exahash growth, we'll have pretty good Q4 results. So that should be the catalyst that drives those guys forward here. And then as far as CORZ going forward, I think CORZ, we kind of know what the revenue is going to be there for HPC AI from CoreWeave, starting probably in the second half of the year. And then the big question is, when will they actually convert, or not really convert, but exchange some of their older miners for some of the newer miners from Block? That's the big question there. When will that be done? If they can do that and improve their hash rate and efficiencies there, I think that would be great for them. But I just don't know when that's going to happen for them. But for the most part, I think CORZ is going to do great going forward still. It definitely got beaten down for no reason today, as far as I can tell. Okay. Let's see. IFS Trade says, Fed scares me, but the charts are primed to run it back. Nice. Yeah, I mean, the Fed meeting is coming up this week, right? If I'm not mistaken. Or is it next week? I can't remember. We'll see what he has to say, and I doubt we're going to get any interest rate cuts here. Maybe I'm wrong. Love to see an interest rate cut, but I doubt it. Okay. Let's see. Mortim says, IREN and BitDeer both have $1 billion ATMs. Cleanspark will not dilute until at least $24 Cleanspark for the win. And then Fast Trades asks, how do you know no more ATM? The board can't be trusted. Well, they usually provide that, and I think it was both Matt and Zach came out saying that they are not looking to do an ATM or any dilution here this year. They're fully funded to 50 plus exahash. And so I'm taking a word kind of on that, right? Doesn't mean that if things get rough that they won't do it. If Bitcoin goes down to 57 or 50,000 or something like that, they might do it at that point. But right now, it doesn't look like it that they're going to need to do that. All right, let's see. What are the chances that we get a bull run local peak before tax deadline in April so I can sell at a reasonable price to cover last year's taxes? I mean, we're going to go up, I would imagine, by then with Bitcoin and the miners possibly at that point as well. But I don't think it's going to be the top yet. I don't think it's going to be a front-loaded cycle. I think it's going to be still a back-end cycle. Okay. Yeah, Morton says here, yeah, Schultz and Zach Bradford on the video, no dilution until at least $24. That's when the convertible notes that they have there, right? That's when those things start to get exercised or something like that. What else do we have here? All right. Musk agrees with Scale AI CEO, suggesting DeepSeek has more NVIDIA chips. Your thoughts? Yeah, we don't know. I saw that tweet as well, that they're thinking that they had maybe like 50,000 of those things. I'm like, okay, if they got those, how do they get them? That's one of the things that's an unknown, unfortunately, right? We really can't take their word for it. It's because it's from China, so we have to take it with a grain of salt. But if they were able to do that with older generation machines, which I'm not saying that they can't, that would be very impressive. Okay. Let's see. Mara or Cleanspark for the best return, not financial advice, of course. Oh, and actually your first question here is Mara worth buying now? Yeah, I do believe Mara is right now still way undervalued from where they really should be, along with Cleanspark at that point. And we can take a look at it here on my sheet for those guys here. Let's see here. Where's it at? We'll look at Cleanspark first here. Go up top here. Bear with me while I pull things in. All right, here it is. So based on December revenues for them, times 12 months, I have them at 26.92 to 40.37 right now. They're at 10.31. Yeah, they're undervalued, right? Mara, same thing. If we look at their revenues for December times 12 months, I have them between 32.93 and 49.39. They're at 18.29. Yeah, they're undervalued as well, right? Which one's going to do better? Possibly, this is possibility, that their FSB accounting for Bitcoin that they held for Q4 in the beginning and then towards the end, the repricing of that is going to be definitely larger than Cleanspark is. And I think their EPS might be higher than Cleanspark will be as well because of that. So with that, if that is a catalyst that's going to drive the stock up higher, I would think maybe it might be for Mara, if that is taken into consideration. Because right now, if we look at their HODL position is 77.71% of their market cap right now. They're either not being valued on their HODL or they're not being valued on their operations. I would imagine that they're probably not being valued on their HODL position. Yes, they bought Bitcoin here, a lot of it here recently. And they're not being valued like some people are saying that they should be, like a 2x, comparable to what MicroStrategy is on their HODL. If that was the case, they'd be being valued at around $9 billion right now just on the HODL position alone. They're valued at $5.8 billion, right? Add in the operation side of things where they're mining. Yes, they have a little bit higher cost to mine than Cleanspark does because they still have a portion of their machines being hosted. But that HODL position might help out there. I don't know that for a fact. So that's why I actually have Cleanspark. And the reason I don't have Mara is because their operations in the past have not been that great. But they have been improving here in the last 2 months. Actually been really fantastic operations. So I'm hoping that continues into January here. And we'll see what they provide for January as well. Okay. Let's go back to Q&A. Let's see. Okay. Could IREN reach $18 sometime by April, May? Possibility with their quarterly results here being reported in sometime, I'm guessing February sometime. And if Bitcoin goes up in value as well, that would be a catalyst that I would think would get it back up. Let's see here. Have you tested DeepSeek? Heard people saying it's giving bad answers to certain things. Yes, it's giving bad answers, but to other things it's giving the proper answers and even actually excelling it than other large language models as well. So it's give or take, right? Especially if it's from China, you know it's going to be censorship on anything bad having to do with China. So you have to take that into consideration. But I have not run it here. I've seen other people run it. Okay, let's see. Question: while waiting for a short squeeze, can we call this long squeeze on the miners? CORZ already has contracted and down 30%. Is there a chance CORZ might lose existing HPC contract? I don't think there is. The only concern there would be if, for some reason, CoreWeave doesn't go public, or the sentiment sticks around where the sentiment on the HPC AI guys is bad for a number of months. Then maybe that would be a concern there. But I'm not sure what the contracts they have in place. Adam Sullivan has stated that the contracts are really good, that they should always get paid. But if they're not running for them, yeah, I don't know at that point. But I think this is all overblown, to be honest, right? Even if the efficiency gains are there, like they say that they are, that's fine, right? You can have those efficiency gains, but you can still have, now instead of running, like I said earlier in the video, instead of running 50 or 100 different language models, you could be running 10,000 language models based on the efficiencies. So there's always going to be, I think the improvement is good actually. And maybe there's going to be some decrease in demand for megawatts and data centers, but the demand should be lowered a little bit, but not to the full extent that everybody's thinking. Okay, let's see. Question, comment. But more Bitfarms today could not say no to $1.98 Canadian. Can it reach at least 5 Canadian? Well, if they get their act together and they start providing good updates for hash rate growth and getting, on their target of 21 exahash by the first half of this year, okay, maybe Bitcoin goes up as well. They provide hopefully good numbers for Q4 as well. That could be a catalyst there as well. Will DeepSeek affect BitDeer and HUT? Well, HUT is working maybe possibly with a hyperscaler for Louisiana site that they're building out. But so that's the hype there. They have some data centers that they're working on right now that they have, and they're also doing a little bit of HPC AI with old hardware, and they bought some new hardware as well. But it's still very, very small. BitDeer's also in talks with others as well. So it's all like preliminary stuff that hasn't really materialized yet. And I think that's why the miners did a kind of a big dip today, was because it was all preliminary, maybe a little hype there as well. And something like this was the catalyst to correct them back down to where they probably should be. But yeah, I mean, HUT 8 is building out a data center in Louisiana, right? That's going to be like a $2 billion data center, something like that. We don't know if it's going to be Meta there or not. Meta has said that they're looking to get to Louisiana, so there's the kind of correct correlation there between the two. But we don't have anything definitive. It's all speculation right now on it. And then also, how long would it take HUT 8 to build out a data center of that size, right? We're thinking, they're saying by the end of the year. I'm thinking that's probably BS. I'm thinking more like towards middle of 2026. But I wish them all the best if they can do it in a year. Based on just the long lead items and things like that, it's going to take longer than 11 months to build it out. Let's see. Hi, Seb, do you think the HPCI plays for miners that are proposing to develop sites like IREN might shift backwards towards Bitcoin production now? It seems like the space is oversaturated. That they have the optionality to do that, right? So they can go back to doing it as a Bitcoin mining. But IREN itself is already still growing at 50 some exahash, 57 exahash, whatever it might be. So they're not stopping at that point, right? Riot is stopping right now their expansion into Bitcoin mining because they're trying to find a customer for the remaining 600 megawatts that they have there. But IREN's still going, pretty much full bore at their site. It's their other site, the Clearwater site, that has maybe potential interest from HPC, for HPC AI from a hyperscaler there. But yeah, they could transition over to that if there's no demand for it. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see it. Are you concerned that IREN has a habit of running up on HPC AI hype and then crashes when no deal materializes? Well, all of these guys have, for the most part. Who really has a deal there that's of any substantive material impact? CORZ and kind of TeraWolf. A bit digital also, right? Has multiple HPCI deals going on there. So those are the ones that really have something there. Everybody else is just, we're talking to a bunch of guys there and there and there, and they're all interested, but we're not seeing anything. So we really need to see something from that. Okay. Okay. What do you think of the rumors that DeepSeek actually used NVIDIA latest chip smuggled from Singapore to China to evade the embargo? If that's true, then this whole thing is BS. Yeah, if that's true, yeah. Yeah. And I've heard rumors of that as well. If they did do that, oh, okay. Then how much did they actually spend on it? That's what we really want to know. Yeah. Yeah, DeepSeek is like, ask me anything except Chinese government. Yeah, it's censored. It's done in the Chinese government. What do you expect? You expect it to be critical of the Chinese government and the CCP? No, that's not going to happen. I mean, even the companies that are American-based companies have to abide by the censorship rules in China. It is what it is. Okay, let's see here. Question: once earnings start being released next month, given the current climate, i.e., DeepSeek, new administration, Cleanspark, and Hive, are scheduled for earnings in early February. Where do we go from there? Well, I would hope and I would think that we would actually go up in price on these guys, especially for like Cleanspark, which is going to have FASB rules in effect. Huge revaluation of the Bitcoin hodl over there from the beginning of quarter 4 to the end of quarter 4. That should be a big improvement for them on the EPS side of things. Hive, I don't think they're going to be able to take advantage of the FASB rules there. They're still a Canadian-based miner, but maybe they do get it done in time for the release on February. I know that they're moving to the United States here in Texas on it, but I think eventually this stuff's going to blow over. We'll have to get maybe we'll get some more details on DeepSeek, or if somebody else comes out that they can do the same thing as well. All right, let's see here. Seb, would you consider launching a membership token for your subscribers or ETF like Meet Kevin? No. I'm not here to grift you guys at all. I'm hoping that you guys actually learn something from this, and I learn from you guys as well. Nope, do not want that. I can see how North American companies would trust the use of China AI. Well, it's open source. You can run it, you can test it, you can see it. And based on the recent results on the testing on things, it's actually pretty good. Except for when it comes to CCP government issues. Why did HUD fall so much and the other miners today is my question is for everyone. The reason they fell is because of DeepSeek. The concern there is that you don't need as much megawatts, as many data centers possibly to create these models. So that's the concern there. That's why. Okay, let's see. 97 says this is a win for open source projects, even if the China AI is overhyped to whipsaw the market. Yeah, I'm all for open source, right? There's times where you don't want it to be open source, like things like of national security and things like that. But for the most part, things that are for public use, I think open source is good because that way you can look into the code, see what's going on there, see if there's anything nefarious in there, anything that's like a back door. It gets basically exposure. You can open it up to the world and maybe get it fixed. Okay, let's see. Based on past, I wouldn't believe the news all at face value on DeepSeek. Their government always has an agenda and have no games with the U.S. market. Yeah, right. Take it with a grain of salt as always with anything that's coming out of China. But it definitely had an impact on the markets here today. So if that was their end goal, congrats, they got it done. Question, is it safe to say miners are heavily manipulated, BTC up, miners down, BTC down, miners in poop hole? Yeah, it is fair to say. They are heavily manipulated by the big boys. Let's see, does Bitfarms have enough capital for operations? Yeah, they got Bitcoin HODL, they got cash there, and they're using the ATM, so they're fine. Okay, and why are you buying IREN with this news? The reason is they're Bitcoin operations. That was always my catalyst to go into some of these miners, right? How are they growing? What's their hash rate going to be in X months, in a year, whatever it's going to be? How are they operating? What's their uptime like? All that stuff. So they've been great here the past year and a half, or I would say. And that's the reason I got into them. Now, anything that has to do with HPCI, I look at it as a potential bonus. If they get it, great. It's going to maybe drive the stock up higher. If they don't really care. I like the operations there on the Bitcoin mining side of things. So with them getting to like 50 exahash plus, Bitcoin going up to 150,000, 200,000, that's going to be to a point where they're going to be generating like over $100 million a month in revenue potentially when that does happen. So that's the reason why. Let's see. Your cipher also got killed. Do you think this is temporary? I do think this is going to be temporary. I just don't know exactly for how long it's going to take for it to work itself out. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see here. Hey Sebastian, it's days like today that makes you a real believer in the miners or not. Some people just want a quick buck and have no conviction in the miners, and days like this will shake them out. That is true. Yeah, I mean, some people are here to trade them, and I don't blame them. I mean, you get these trading patterns, and you get these low, high sides of things, and you can trade them for a good buck as well. So, I mean, whatever you do to do well in trading, I'm all for it, right? Whether it's dollar cost averaging, buying for a longer time, or trading them, whatever works for you, I'm all for it. Question: why has Mara even with the first mover advantage never been able to mine efficiently more than a couple of months every year? That's a good question, right? That's kind of what I want to see. Is they've had 2 good months, November and December here, where they were operating very, very well, almost 100% uptime. So we need to see, does it always happen in the wintertime when the weather's kind of colder and they can operate for more uptime, higher percentage rate? And then what happens in the spring and summertime? Do they go back to being a crappy miner again? I don't know. Right? Hopefully they fix all the issues that they had there in the past, and they can actually mine at these kind of uptime percentages. All right. Any reason why Trump didn't come out and speak to calm down the market? Had he come out and called out DeepSeek fake news, maybe the market could have recovered somewhat. I mean, he could have come out and said something about it, but you also had David Sachs there tweet about it today as well. So it looks like they're looking into it pretty hard as the what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty hard to on the I can't say that. I know what I want to say, but I can't spit it out. Whether it's verified, whether it's accurate information that we're getting there, that's kind of what I want to say. But yeah. Let's see. What else? Okay. See, there's even, you're talking about the pi thing. Okay, you're getting ahead of yourself there a little bit, maybe with that part. Let's see, wow, your price targets have gotten much lower from pre-2025, disappointing, but can't blame you. Things looking super bearish at the moment. Price targets I'm looking at right now as far as, like for Cleanspark, what I pointed out in Mara as well, that's based on just a revenue times 12 months, right? And then looking at 50% profit margin or like a 75% profit margin there as well. Could they actually get higher than that? Yeah. It just depends on where Bitcoin goes, right? This is Bitcoin being at these levels. So that always has to be taken into consideration as well. Okay. Why would China today promise 130 billion over the next 5 years for AI projects if it's really that cheap? Well, the U.S. is saying 500 billion, right? So that's 1/5 of what they're what we're saying we're going to do possibly. So, yeah, I mean, that's still cheaper than the 500 billion that we're talking about. All right. Question here. What's a smart question that you think we should be asking? What point is the market missing? Oh, with DeepSeek, I would say getting the truth actually, right? What miners did they actually use to do it? So how much did they actually pay cost-wise for it? I think that would be the big thing that we would really need to find out on it at this point. As far as everything else is concerned with the U.S. HPC AI plays, is there any validity to or truth to the fact that they could do this with older machines? Can that be replicated with the AI companies here in the United States? Can they replicate this by doing certain things to the programming, the software? Can that be replicated? If it can, okay, then there's some validity or validity to their statements, I guess. Okay, what are your thoughts on Bitfarms? I own a bunch of Bitfarms shares. I'm not buying anything right now. I want to see how they do in January. Do they increase their hash rate or not? And then I want to see an update as far as what's going on in Paraguay and things like that. At that point, maybe I'll decide to maybe buy more if they're still relatively low. Let's see your question. Did he talk about CORZ already? Are you talking about me? Yes, I talked about CORZ a little bit. Shouldn't have come down as much as it did, but it followed everybody else here. Question: what are your thoughts on Bitfarms? Can it go to $3? sincerely hope that it can go at least back to $3 if Bitcoin is going to like 200,000. Yes. Hi sub, is Mara diluting? Can we not see a 30 Mara again? No. I'm sure Mara is maybe diluting. I would think they are possibly because they're not selling any Bitcoin. They got a bunch of convertible notes as well, but those were used mainly to buy Bitcoin there. So yeah, I think they're going to be diluted, but we'll see how much they dilute. We'll get that results for Q4 here for them and see how much they actually increase the shares amount there on it. But they should be able to get more north of 30. They were before 30, and it's just we need Bitcoin to go up higher, and they need to provide good Q4 numbers as well. Okay, let's see here. Question, without HPTC AI, I think it's HPCAI, I don't see IREN hitting 80 no more, but most likely 50. Okay. Now, that's fair. We differed on that a little bit, but that's okay. All right. Is Bitfarms' acquisition of Stronghold power infrastructure now a wasted venture? No, because it's mostly going to be for their Bitcoin mining side of things, and then they have the possibility to do something with HPC AI. So that was always an add-on possibility there. Let's see. Can DMG gain momentum, or is it just a scam company? DMG is a small miner, right? I don't think that they're a scam company. They have quite a few things going on. They have software and other things going on as well. In that company, they're just small. And at the mercy of the market, just like everybody else is here. See, question. I don't have the impression DeepSeek is even a slight concern to Cleanspark as long as Bitcoin goes up. Your thoughts? Well, yeah. I mean, DeepSeek is AI. Cleanspark's not in AI or anything like that. I don't think there's any concern with that. Because I kind of saw that today, right, with Cleanspark being down, along with Mara being down the least, where everybody else was down 25, 30, 35% at one point. So, yeah. What do you think of the Bitcoin or mining stock short percentage? I looked at that today. I still don't have the latest data on it today. Let me see if it popped up yet right now. Actually, I closed that app. But I'll look at it again tomorrow. We're supposed to get that information here. So once I do have that information, we will definitely take a look at it. Let's see here. DeepSeek is not a fake. The numbers China provided are. I posted the link above, or just Google Stacy. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Yeah, I mean, DeepSeek is not a fake. I know that's not a fake. It's just the numbers. Are the numbers accurate or not? All right. Are you concerned the American domiciled miners with FSB rules will have to fork out 15% corporate alternative minimum tax on 2024 unrealized capital gains on their HODL? No, that's because they haven't sold it. So I don't think, I don't think that's going to be the case. Okay. How disappointing are you, how disappointed are you, miners versus BTC performance? BTC is close to top our miners 2x and more from here. Are we delusional? I don't think we're delusional. Yeah, I mean, this past year has not been great for the miners. They're at least like pure play miners. The ones that have had talks about HPC AI, those have done pretty well, right? They're actually outperforming here Bitcoin here. But the other miners, yeah, they fared pretty badly here. And that's why I'm thinking maybe it is until Q4 results that start coming out with their EPS being much better than what's actually being forecasted for these guys right now. That should be a catalyst there, but we'll see. Let's see. Hey, Seb, what is the possibility of Mara reaching 30 again, and any good take on Sphere 3D? I think the possibility for Mara reaching 30 again is pretty good, right? It might get there faster than we actually think. And any good take on Sphere 3D? Nah, I would have to take a look to see if there's any good news from them. They don't own any infrastructure, right? I think they were looking to get some megawatts or something like that someplace. But I haven't heard anything on that one. Sorry. Question, what are your thoughts on CORZ? I think CORZ is a great company. Adam Sullivan has done a fantastic job there. A lot of revenue coming in here in the second half of the year from CoreWeave. And then I'd like to see them expand their, or at least replace some of their older machines for ASIC or for Bitcoin mining with some of the newer generation ASICs that they're looking to get from Block. That would be great there as well. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing going on there other than that. Let's see, is 3D is your favorite miner? Yeah, no. No. Let's see, what else do I have here? Let's see. DeepSeek is just a scapegoat when China rug pulls on tariffs, war, and announces more money to be injected in their economy. I don't think so. I think the concern there was real from DeepSeek. We saw it from other CEOs of AI companies and Microsoft and others as well, talking about it there, right? It seemed like they're definitely paying attention to what's going on there. What's your BTC top price? My original top price was 180,000. This was before all the news on ETFs getting approved, Trump winning the election, right, and then maybe being used as a strategic reserve. That was all before that. I think now we're looking probably north of 200,000. I don't know exactly where though. And then it feels like we are close to it, and miners are lagging so much because of it. Yeah, you might be right. I could be wrong on that, but it just doesn't seem like it with all the adoption happening. Why are DeepSeek answers about world leaders so wrong or lacking a response? Doesn't seem so advanced. Well, that's censorship. That's Chinese censorship there. So you can chuck that up to that on that one. All right. I think we've caught up to all you guys' questions here. We're going on close to about an hour here as it is. Bitcoin's still up nicely. Well, nicely. It's up 0.6%, up $613 to $102,675. So that's looking pretty good there. We'll see what the miners do tomorrow. Do we get a correction from what we had today? And then we got another question here from OTC coming in. Let's say everything they say DeepSeek can do is true. It's mostly bad for HPC miners or all miners. It would be bad for just HPC miners that have some play there. Not all miners. That's the way I would say it. But yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much for coming in here as always. Greatly appreciate you. Today was not a good day. Hopefully we don't see that again for a while. Maybe it was a correction that we needed in some of these guys. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm thinking that this was way overreaction. Way overreacted to. And I think it was just a perfect storm of information that was coming out over the weekend as well. A lot of articles written about it. People talking about it on YouTube. Myself as well yesterday, right? So they might have had an impact on it. Plus, I think they released the R1 candidate, which came out Friday, I think it was. So that everything was just like a perfect storm to drive these things down, panic people, scare people to death, and pull money out because of it. I think maybe some cooler heads will prevail in the long run, and we'll see how things go going tomorrow on that one. And then let's see. I think that's it. Bear, I'm not sure I understood your question there. Follow up to FSB can't rules. Not sure what you're talking about there. All right, but that's it. Love you all. Have a great night, everyone. We'll talk about whatever happens tomorrow. And hopefully it's not a repeat of today. I do not want to see a repeat of because that was definitely painful. Lost a lot, on paper at least, today. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.